Okay. Hi, Sarah. Thanks for joining me. I am Jessie Budzinski, and I'm the Assistant Department Chair of Human Services. And you have agreed to share some of your story with us, your time at PG. So if you could just introduce yourself and tell me the program that you graduated from, the degree that you earned, and your graduation date to get us started.
Okay. I am Sara Sanderson, and I graduated with my Bachelor's of Science in Human Services. I was done May 29th, and my graduation's October something, like
Awesome.
or something. I don't know.
Yes. And
Too many dates to remember.
I know. What led you to PG? How did you come to our program?
Okay, so okay. I have a colorful past. All right. And I did a few years in prison. So when I got out, it was July 2020, COVID's going on, and I already knew I wanted to go to school. And there wasn't a lot of job options anyway. So I was like, I might as well just jump into this. So like a week after I was out, I started, looking online, and, you do those things where schools just start calling you. You don't realize like all these people are calling you. And everybody I talked to was so impersonal, and it was just overwhelming. And then I got a call from you guys, and it was Miss Tracy Williams, and she is my godsend. Like, I almost didn't answer because I figured it was one of those calls. I'm like, something told me to answer it. And we must have talked for like an hour, and she just helped me. My confidence was low, and I was just nervous, and I didn't know if I was going to be able to do it. And she walked me through everything, and I wanted to start right away. And the term was starting in like a couple weeks. So I wasn't going to have financial aid. So I was going to have to pay out of pocket. So I had to petition my mom and my sister and like people to help me, and she called me every day and was like, and just reminded me, if you don't get this money together, it's okay. You're going to start next term, and I'm going to stay in touch with you. But we got it together, and we did it, and it started. So that's how.
That is amazing.
Yeah. I just emailed her like a few weeks ago and told her like, thank you, because without her, I don't know that I even would have started, because I was about defeated at that point. So
that's amazing. So she was with you through the whole process.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, she's awesome.
So what would you like to share about your journey, like while you were in the degree program, in terms of maybe courses that were helpful, faculty that were helpful, anything like that?
My teachers were amazing. My professors were amazing. Anytime, and actually you helped me one time. I had one professor that I don't like argue about much, but it was a group project, and our fourth person just never showed. So I was doing double the work, and I was the person presenting it and putting it all together. And I didn't put my name at the top. And I've never in any other assignment since then, before then, had to put my name on something, because I'm sending it from me. You know what I mean?
Right.
My partner's got a B and I got a D. And all the points she took off was from not putting my name on it. And she was not budging. But actually, you were the one that and got me my same grade as my partners, because I've never got a D except for in statistics, but that's another story. So yeah, my professors were amazing. I was very nervous. I actually had the luxury. My very first class was with, oh my gosh, I just forgot her name.
That's okay.
Who's the chair? Dr. Murphy, is it?
Morgan?
Morgan. I knew it started with the N. I can't believe I just forgot that. I've actually kept in touch with her too. But
great.
Yeah, so she was like, I don't teach classes very often, so you guys are lucky, like know me, and she was amazing. Like that first class just took away all my nerves and just made me realize I was going to be able to do this. Yeah, and I worked full time. I'm a single mom. Also was in reentry. So, and there was a time where, because of COVID, there was no housing options when I got home. So my parents said I could come there for a short time. So after like a few weeks, and it's not that they like didn't want me there, didn't want to help me. There's no room. And they had my daughter, and she was in a routine, and it's just chaotic, So I applied for some programs. I didn't get into them. I had a little bit of money, so I went and stayed at a hotel. And then I met the GM at this hotel, and she basically just let me stay there through all of COVID. And I helped out and like with whatever, and I'm really good at like conflict resolution, and this hotel had a lot of issues with that, so that was kind of nice. But yeah, so there, but I mean, I was homeless essentially, you know what I mean? And I got a Chromebook, which I didn't know wasn't compatible with some of the stuff at PG, but it was the cheapest option.
Right.
Like when I was at my parents', I was using their desktop, so there was like some frustration with that, but my teachers were amazing. And like my first project that I found out I wasn't going to be compatible, she gave me like a week extension so I could find a way to get to my parents' house and do it on their computer. And so that ended up working out, but it was up and down a lot. And then I had a good friend who agreed to let me come stay with her and not pay anything, but I didn't want to not pay anything, so I ended up just paying the bills and she paid the rent because I was working at that point. But that gave me the opportunity to save a lot of money, and she actually met someone, moved in with him, and I took over her lease, so I got history. So like that was good. But then I had a 4.0 all through the beginning, and then my student advisor, I can't pronounce her name, but somehow scheduled me for 4 classes one term because I was taking 3 a lot because I wasn't working at first.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get done. And I should have called. I should have got it taken care of. But, I was working as a mom. I'm like, I just do it. Like, it's whatever.
Right.
Well, my grades like suffered bad. But my teachers at the end, when I realized like I need to at least get a C, you know what I mean? And I was in communication with all of them. They were all great to help me, like the 4th class, because I got all of them done on time except for the one. And he literally gave me until like the last second to get my stuff in, And so the professors were amazing, huge part of my success, definitely. And then in my last couple terms, my 10-year-old nephew had emergency open heart surgery. And he was in children's for a long time, children's hospital here. And so between picking up extra hours at work to help my sister, because she wasn't leaving the hospital to go to work. I mean, and her husband had PTO saved up, but it ran out after a few weeks. So, we were all trying to pitch in, and then I had her other kids, and it was just a lot. And my professors were, again, very understanding, because it was kind of like, listen, and this is what I told them, I can get it done on time. I can do that, but I'm not going to be able to like focus it, put into it what I know I can put into it.
Right.
So I need to know what you would prefer, basically, because I don't want to get late points, but I don't want to give you a half-assed paper, I can say that.
No, that's okay.
But,
that's okay.
Yeah. So they were really great. And one of my teachers, even my nephew has a Facebook page because he has a lot of health problems.
Yeah.
She even followed him, and she would message me and ask how he was doing. And yeah, it was
really awesome. Great. That's awesome.
Yeah. So there was a lot of things, but.
And I'm hearing you had, it sounds like a lot of support along the way. What would you identify as some of the top things that helped you persist? Because I think, you're definitely not alone. I think a lot of our students struggle with just juggling life,
absolutely,
work, family. So what for you helped you persist and complete your degree?
Well, for one, I'm almost 40 years old. I told you I spent some time in prison. I was an addict. I had a lot of health problems. The whole opiate wave. I mean, luckily, I might be dead if I didn't. So luckily I went to prison right when the whole fentanyl thing started happening, but I had blood clots and stuff, and I was prescribed very high doses of medication. And the doctor that I was seeing decided one day I didn't need them and didn't wean me down, didn't anything. I was a single mom. I bought them on the street, so I wasn't sick until I couldn't afford them anymore, and then I was doing heroin. Now, not a lot of people knew I was very functioning. I wasn't like really shooting up to get high. I need to not be sick, So my kids, they had 3 meals a day. Like, that part's good. It wasn't as good though because it shocked them when I went to prison or whatever. But So my kids definitely is what helps me persist. Financially speaking, as a felon, without something behind my name at this point, I'm not going to make much money, And then a lot of it was the relationships I built at Purdue. I did not want to let people down. You know what I mean? I just, most of them knew my story because, it's human services. So we're like, sometimes on discussion boards, personal experience, or the getting to know you at the beginning, and then some emails and stuff too. I had two professors that really helped me keep going, and I cannot remember either of their names right now, but I'm going to email them to you because it's
okay.
But I mean, these are just good people, like really good. Like they just want you to succeed so bad that you like have to want it yourself.
Right. Oh, I love to hear that. So what are you doing now, and what are you hoping for in the future?
Okay, so right now I was going to say I'm just a server, but one of my professors said, do not say that. That's
right.
So I am a server at a restaurant, which I average like at least $30 an hour. Like I love my job. I love people. There's so much like bad in the world that I just love to make people happy, like have a good experience, And I work with a lot of younger kids. So when there's rude customers and they don't want to deal with them, I'm like, challenge accepted. They'll love me by the end. My GM is like, I don't get it. I don't know what you say to these people. I'm like, I'm very good at reading people, I guess. But so yeah, I'm a server and I'm looking into the master's program. I wanted to start, the one I looked at was going to start like August 30th or something. So, but I know there's different calendars. So I need to look and see, because I don't want to wait until like January to start, but either legal stuff, maybe human services, but policy changes, advocacy,
Awesome. So do you have like a dream job?
I just want to help all the people. I don't know like the best way to do that yet, And that's another thing. I'm like, should I take like business classes and start my own place? You know what I mean? I don't know. But I will definitely be working on policy changes, even if it's on a advocacy volunteer basis or something. But that's like really, really what I hope to do, because I have a lot of life experience that people don't expect. I come from a very good home. I grew up in the church. I had a lot of trauma growing up, but not from my family. Not, there was just some things, but and then my health stuff and addiction, and it's like my parents made sure we were all well educated. So people always look at me. You don't look like a heroin addict. You don't look like you've been in prison. But I do. You just have this picture of like this mass murderer in your brain. And that's just not what it is. I mean, of course you have those people in there, but like, I got through my experience in prison so well because of the support I have from the outside. And if you don't have support, there's no hope. There's no hope for you at all. And like, I was running the reintegration unit by the time I left there. And like some of these girls, I mean, they've been there years, never had a visit, don't have anybody to call. So when it's time for them to get out, and especially through COVID, was what made me realize that there's got to be a better system for reentry. Because I went to prison for selling drugs, and my friend overdosed and he died, which is awful. We've been friends since kindergarten. I wasn't a big drug dealer. I just picked up his stuff for him. And so I was a drug dealer, and so I knew that life. I knew how to do that. If I wouldn't have my parents and COVID was there and I lost my housing, and they because it's either, do you have an address or which homeless shelter do you want to go to? That's what they say when you leave. I mean, people do what they have to do.
Right.
Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Like, people need to eat, people need to feel safe, people, all of it. So I just want to help somehow. I don't know if it's going to be policy changes, or I want to do case management, but then Ohio passed that law about felons. So and one of my professors, because I was about ready to quit school at that point. Like, I'm not even going to be able to use my degree. Like, I was so frustrated. And she was like, on the phone, she had me call her. she was like, okay, all right, are you done? And I was like, I'm done. And she was like, Sarah, and I was like, what? And she's like, you don't have to live in Ohio. And I was like, you're right, the laws. I mean, it never crossed my mind. You know what I mean? And I was like, and she's like, and this is human services. You can literally do anything that works with humans. She was like, and it's not like you're never going to be able to do what you want to do. There's just a time on it, which now I'm like 6 years post conviction. So it's only 4 years, So that's why I figured just get my master's while I'm waiting.
Right.
Why not? Because I got done with school. I was so busy with school and work and the kids. And then school was done, and I was like, what do people do after work? I don't know what to do. So, yeah.
Well, you have such a positive outlook. I mean, it's incredible to hear your story. And now that what you ultimately want to do is really make things better for other people.
Absolutely, because these people have nobody, and what are they supposed to do?
Right.
I don't know. You have, I was in there with an 18-year-old girl who was in there for armed robbery because she was trying to steal food from a grocery store to feed her kid. Right. And some guy was trying to grab her and she pulled a knife on him. And these are not, yes, that's a criminal activity. I'm not saying there shouldn't be some kind of punishment, but 8 years in prison, right. You know what I mean? That's insane to me. Yep. And also there's no rehabilitation like the program I did. And then there's another type of reintegration program. But the only reason I got into that program is because my sister, who's a psychologist, and my parents who work for schools, called. And prison doesn't want to hear from people. They just want you to shut up. So they do whatever. Right. So a lot of these people have A, no home training at home, and then B, no rehabilitation. You're not learning anything. And then the ones that do get some rehabilitation, there's only about a year or two that you could do of that programming. And then, you can practice your programming for the rest of your time, but for the next 10 years, you're bored and the life is what it is in there and you have to survive, So there's just so many things that need to change.
Right. And so we need people like you who are willing to take that on and who want to take that on.
Me too. I'm ready.
Yes. I love that. Do you have any advice that so imagine that a student was watching this. Is there any advice that you would give them?
I would just say, just keep going because it does get hard. It gets overwhelming, especially I know Purdue Global, helps cater to working adults, that was and they 100% do. But at the same time, we're working adults and we have kids and lives and it just gets a lot. And sometimes I think it's easiest to be well, I'm just going to quit that because there's nobody in front of my face that's going to say anything to me about it, but there are so many people that care at the school and they will help you get through. I would say the only times that I talked to other students that were oh, this is ridiculous. They act like they do this and they don't blah, blah, blah. And I'm well, what'd your professor say? Oh, I didn't talk to him. Well, it's the communication.
Absolutely.
And that's hard. It was even hard for me. I'm not a big, let me tell you, I don't want to look like I have excuses. You know what I mean? So it is hard to get the balls or whatever to send that message, but because most of my professors at the beginning would say that repeatedly, just communicate with me, and they're very whatever. But then you have the professors that are nope, this is the due date, this is whatever, and if something happens, let me know. And they mean the same thing as the other people, but it just sounds, you know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely.
Jump over the hurdles, bust down the barriers, just keep going. Even if you get out with a D like I did in statistics, just finish it, just get through it, That would be my advice.
That's great advice.